Hello. Gonna add Clint and Kyle if I can. See if this works. There's Clint.
Our mic was off by default. I think Kyle, if you can hear us, turn the mic on. Ooh, look how fancy I look.
There we go.
All right. Little feedback loop going. Okay, let me check the YouTubes. We are almost ready. We're almost ready. There we go. All right, so we are streaming. Let me pop out that YouTube chat. So, Kyle, Clint, how are things in your neck of the woods during the apocalypse?
Doing good here in old Yuma. All the old people are freaking out naturally, but I think we're going to survive. We're not in a lockdown, so that's good.
Excellent. How about you, Kyle? Where are you at currently? Your whole family's moving across the globe. What's the state of that?
I've abandoned them. They're in Phoenix. I'm currently living the good life in the UK. I'm kind of in the countryside outside of Manchester, and there are definitely worse places to be. But right now the plans are the move is on as scheduled. That's not till kind of end of June. I feel like we got a little time, so we'll see.
Very cool. Wish you the best and a smooth transition.
Do you think things will be still crazy in 3 months? They can't be.
It's possible. But let's hope warm weather kills it off, even though proven hypothesis, but we'll hope.
We'll hope.
So it's
133 degrees.
So Death Valley temperature.
Yuma's safe.
Yeah, I figure once it gets hot enough, I'll be all right. But it's 133
like
degrees.
Prime real estate in the Arizona desert.
Yeah, they're recommending like 15 minutes in the sauna. If you get sick and you catch it early enough, just go sit in the sauna for a little bit, keep it out of your sinuses, and that'll help you fight it off.
Well, hand sanitizer is 70% alcohol, and I suspect at times Kyle is too.
Nothing can live in me. Nothing can live in me.
So, all right, now that I've done my inappropriate joke for the week, let's talk about SEO. So, you guys have any tips for SEOs out there who are losing clients? What can they do to try to shore up their numbers?
First thing is communication. Just being present with your clients and understanding the situation is going on. There's a reason that all those big brands sent out all of those emails about COVID-19, this and that. I mean, they want to make sure that you're present with them and then know that you guys are in it together. So that you need to communicate with your clients is, I think, step one. Step two is that let them know that there are tough situations and you're willing to help them out. There are often things that you can shift or prioritize. And a third thought would be, what can you do search-wise that might benefit them in this situation? There might be opportunities for them where people might be looking for information about something that they're doing. Maybe you can find those keywords that are super hot right now that are around this situation, like, is their business still open because of this, or are they still providing this or that, and making sure that when people are doing those searches, where can I get this type of service in this situation, their pages, brand new pages that you've got for this can hit the top.
Nice. What about you, Clint? Any suggestions for SEOs?
I think they should look at different things in marketing, like PPC wise, and then look at how the model of their clients are. So I'd use the example yesterday on SEO this week was the gym owner in LA who's switching, and he's doing essentially using Zoom and holding personal training over the internet. So pretty much everyone can do that. Lawyers can do it. Even doctors, general practitioners can hold videos over the dentists can do it. Obviously, you're not going to drill any teeth or anything, but you can prioritize your patients and say, okay, you can come in. We'll have everything prepared. So we're not going to get sick. You're not going to get sick. We'll be all happy and win.
So that's kind of like convincing the business to pivot how they operate to be kind of a different incarnation of the same business.
Yeah, and it might actually lead into something a whole lot better for them too, because you can get a whole lot more people, patients, or clients if you're using a digital format. So maybe that carries over in the future, and you actually end up with more profits than it. Plus, you're positioned yourself as someone who's there for them when they needed them the most during times of trouble, and people remember that. Like, my dog got hurt, I remember that vet was the one that would see my dog that day versus the other ones that said I have to wait a week. You know what I mean? So now I go to that vet all the time. And the same thing works with lawyers, dentists, and even your AC repairman. So, AC repairman doesn't really have to come to your house to see a whole lot. They can, most of the systems outside anyway. Present it that way. Hey, we're not living in fear. We honestly respect this. This is what we've done, and we still have it, and we can still offer the services to you. Restaurants, bars, you guys are sucking. I would start looking into Uber Eats and that kind of stuff where you can send out deliveries and stuff. But for the most part, I don't really have a whole lot of advice for them guys.
I like your advice for the cases where people can provide services over the internet. So the consultations, the training online, that makes a lot of sense because it changes their local business in a local service area to potentially a nationwide business with a nationwide service area.
Yeah.
So that could be a big game changer for their business if done properly. I've found like my tip, which I shared in the IMG community days and days ago. So if you're not in IMG, get a free account, be in there. You can get this kind of stuff a lot faster. But my tip was that you can actually find things like hand sanitizer still if you understand that businesses out there have shitty SEO. And so the way that I would find hand sanitizer in a world where it's mostly sold out everywhere you look is instead of searching for hand sanitizer, you search for the businesses that sell it. So custodial supply stores. And then you visit their websites and do a site search on their website for hand sanitizer. And if their SEO sucks, they'll still have inventory. But what's cool, even cooler than finding hand sanitizer, is you found a business whose SEO sucks, and you can demonstrate it in a way that they can't argue with. If you have not organically sold out of hand sanitizer right now in this environment, imagine how much other business you've been losing all along due to that bad SEO. We should fix that so that you can do better now and going forward. And so all of those people, they can't argue their bad SEO at that point. And you have something to offer. And hopefully these businesses are like, wow, we're in this climate where we need more sales. We need to double down on marketing. You can find people right now. You can find businesses right now that have that terrible SEO, because selling hand sanitizer on a website right now should be a slam dunk. And if they're not selling it organically, if they still have inventory, then they need your help. And that's one way that you can kind of turn this to your advantage. Not all businesses are hiring right now, but when I look at the marketing that I see in my inbox and the brochures that come in with the junk mail at my house, it's Black Friday right now. They're all coming in 50% off sales, 75% off sale. These are Black Friday numbers coming in right now because those businesses are getting aggressive. They're trying to compete with people's hoarding budgets. So it's like, I know that, 10 cases of emergency food makes me feel really comfortable. Like that puts me in a safe place. But 65% off that thing I always wanted is a good argument too. And if people want to choose one or the other, let people choose one or the other. They're grown-ups. There's no shame in putting out your best offer to try to win the business. And businesses need to be doing that right now because you're competing with fear. So you need offers that are strong enough to compete with that fear. So that's my advice. Any comments on that? Am I off my rocker?
I mean, that all sounds good. I mean, anything people can do. I think these are all three things that people can look at and they can look to apply. And depending on their situation, those are the things to try to go for right now.
Yeah. So hopefully that gives you a place to start if you're losing customers and you need to get new ones. But there are ways you're going to have to be creative to win that business. You're going to have to be motivated and show initiative and go out and win that business. It's not going to be easy, but I do believe it's possible. All right. With that, I will share my screen and we'll get into today's topic.
And I think Clint and I will go cam off, and then you've got the full screen.
All right. So we're doing the Names of Things SEO topic today. And Names of Things SEO is something that, like, I kind of coined that term. There's probably other terms for it too out there. I'm sure I didn't invent it, but it's what I would do in online retail. So for years and years and years, whenever I'd start an online retail engagement, this is always the thing I'd like to try and knock out week 1, week 2, because this type of SEO gets you instant results, and that buys you more time to do proper SEO. Because oftentimes when you're taking on SEO clients, they're worried that you're another scam SEO. They want to see results. They want to know that they made a good choice with their money, but they're not necessarily going to give you a year to do it. So how do you get the time? Because SEO takes time. And so I would do Names of Things SEO with online retail customers because it usually got me a victory right out of the starting gate to buy me more time. So when we get into what is Names of Things, well, let's do some boilerplate first. So if you want to come join us, this is the URL for after the show for networking. And I will share this in chat towards the end of the show over on YouTube for the YouTube folks if you want to hang out and ask questions. And then we're also on Roku. Thank you, Carolyn. American Way Media. If you want that, we can arrange an introduction for you. She also got us on Amazon as well. And so syndicating our show worldwide through all of these smart devices is really awesome. And SEO this week, Clint, what can people expect there?
Some different news out of Google. John Mueller. We talked about Matt Woodward's EXIF data test and the good stuff that he did. And we showed off a new browser tool that people might want to check out. I haven't used it myself yet, but it looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, kudos to Matthew Woodward for doing SEO testing. Welcome to the club. We're happy to have you in our testing community. Maybe come on the show sometime and share some of your tests if you happen to see this. Internet Marketing Gold, I mentioned you should come. Hey, Kyle, I think you're having a mic problem. Oh, there it goes. sorry, Kyle, it's just all static on my end. Sounded like you were a robot from a science fiction movie. Internet Marketing Gold. Feel free to join, get a free account. We have a lot of content, and you can ask questions. A whole community for support there. We do testing there. It's good stuff. And then into our topic again, that Names of Things SEO. And so the idea behind Names of Things SEO is that you're looking to make sure that the targeting is correct for the offers being made on a website. And what you'll find is that websites have, especially online retailers, they will have a lot of URLs on their website that get no or next to no traffic organically. And that's a problem. So those end up being organic goose eggs in terms of delivering any value to the business. We want to find those organic goose eggs and make them better than zero traffic. And when you do that to an online retailer site-wide, when you turn all those zeros into non-zeros, it can be very profound. And any one victory might be rather small. So you might, go from 0 views a day to, 100 views a month. That's really small. But when you do that across a website that maybe has 5,000 pages, that's a noticeable bump. And then all of those pages are in the game. Then you can start tuning those to rank better and do better. But you want to start by getting all of the pages into the game. Then you change the game to getting them to the top. So many people will start with a single page and say, I need to get this one page to the top, but they're overlooking the opportunity for the business, which is that traffic. So when you turn all of those goose eggs into non-goose eggs, then all of a sudden you're saying, look at all these pages that I've revived from the dead, and that this is an opportunity for new money. This is new opportunity coming into the business that didn't exist before you fixed it. And so usually it's very easy because you're not trying to be number one in this type of SEO. You're trying to turn the zeros into non-zeros, which is a much easier problem to solve. So if I went to Clint and Kyle and said, hey guys, I'm not asking you to get this to number one. I'm just asking you to get this page anywhere in the search results for the target keyword, anywhere. That's a much simpler problem. And when you do that site-wide, then you have the whole site in the game. And then your SEO is going to be a whole lot more effective. Any thoughts on this idea, guys?
You're preaching to the choir with me. And by the way, does my mic sound okay?
It's still staticky for me. How does it sound out in YouTube land?
Check 1, check 2, check 1, check 2. Yeah.
Nobody's responding yet.
I'll talk quick and I'll get off.
Okay.
I totally agree. I often like to look at pages now and how this page is performing, not necessarily how many keywords are ranking or how well our keywords are ranking. Who cares if you're in the number 4 spot or number 3 spot? The bigger thing is the amount of traffic that's coming to the page. And when you're talking about a site like you're talking about with 5,000 URLs, if you can make it a little bit better by getting, say, 100 pages and they all get 10 clicks, well, you just increased by 1,000 clicks across for that entire site's traffic. That turns into a significant gain, going just from that 0 to 10 across that number of things. So I love these concepts a lot.
Thank you. Yeah. I figured I was preaching to the choir that you have to be in the game before you can play the game. And so that's kind of what this is finding those pages that aren't in the game. And to do that, it can be a little tricky to find the goose eggs because Google Analytics isn't really helpful. They won't tell you the pages that they don't have data for. And so that's a problem, because if nobody organically visits that page, you're not going to get any organic data for the page in Google Analytics. So the way I tend to find those goose eggs is I'll find all the URLs that have a refer from google.com. And if you're doing this in Google Analytics, you're looking for source mediums of Google Organic that aren't bots. And so when you get that full list of everything that got organic traffic, then you go to your sitemap and you remove those URLs that got traffic from your sitemap list. And anything that's left over, those are your goose eggs. Those are the pages that get no organic traffic. Those are the ones that you want to turn from zeros into something better than zeros. So, Names of Things SEO, this is an audit where you find and fix pages that are effectively targeting no traffic. And so we went over that. I'll skip this one. I'm going to show you how we do it. I'm going to walk through this site called Hempest, and this site creates clothing made out of hemp. And so that appeals to a very niche market. It's a small business, and targeting is going to be very, very important to an online retailer like this. And so when I look at their categories, so I'm looking at the website's categories here, their first one is sale. They have all sale, men's, and ladies. And the problem is they're never going to win these keywords. This is void of context. They're never going to win the keyword sale. They're never going to win the keyword men's, and they're never going to win the keyword ladies. So these are effectively dead category pages that have poor targeting. So what I would do is, in my Names of Things audit, is I'd say, well, instead of all sale, let's compete for something that'll get our customers potentially if we can win it. So hemp clothing sale is very targeted. It's longer tail, lower competition. This is probably what we should be targeting here. So I want to change the name of this category to hemp clothing sale. And changing names of things is usually very easy. You go into a CMS and you rename a category and you hit publish. There is a problem with doing this. You have to be careful, because this usually, renaming things, usually changes the URL. So if you rename something, you may be abandoning the past SEO efforts. So by renaming this, I might have to go back and create redirects for the all sale URL, make sure they get pointed at the hemp clothing sale URL. And so you need to look at what you're risking by changing the name. If there's already a lot of great traffic here, you may not want to change it. That's why we like looking for the goose eggs organically, because we can change the names of the organic goose eggs without risking anything. But just note that it's not risk-free, but there's very little risk if you only change the goose eggs. And again, here, men's, we could change that to men's hemp clothing sale. And that's a keyword we could win, and it's very targeted. Like people who search for, men's hemp clothing or hemp clothing sale, they're going to want to see this category. Same thing here, ladies. Problem with this is I looked it up in Google Trends, and for this type of audit, Google Trends is the tool. It's the tool you're going to be using to do this. When I look at the traffic for ladies' clothing sale, it's way down here. When I look at women's clothing sale, that's how people search. You have to be mindful of how people are searching to find the right opportunity. By saying ladies, they destroyed a lot of their opportunity. So that's why I changed it to women's hemp clothing sale. And also, I had checked the apostrophe usage for men's and women's, and there was no difference. So for canonicalizing everything and getting the exact match, I just went without it for my recommendations. But those are things that you'd want to check, like hyphens and apostrophes and quotes and things of that nature. Because if people don't search with that, then you don't want to use it. Some of their categories were empty. So I went into that men's sale category and they had no items. And this is a real problem. You don't want pages. And the page looks exactly like this. It's like a no content page. And they have a number of these. So we'd have to figure out something like disable the category if it has absolutely nothing in it. Or they could do something smart, like just put a couple products on sale. Not a big sale, make it 10% off. That's fine, but get something in there. And then you're targeting those keywords effectively. And the ladies' sale page wasn't a sale page. It was a duplicate link to the women's main category. So again, put something on sale or disable the category. When I looked at the men's category, again, they're never going to win this keyword men's. They're never going to win this keyword all men's, and it's kind of off topic for what they sell. They're never going to win t-shirts all by itself. They're never going to win hoodies. They're never going to win sweaters. And it's not the best targeting because not all people that want sweaters want the hemp sweaters. They need to target their market. And so I would change these to things that they can win and that target their customers better. And so when I looked at button-down shirts, for example, that's not how people search for it. When you look in Google Trends versus dress shirts is how people search. That's this red line here. Button-down shirts is this blue line. So we want to change it to men's hemp dress shirts. So Names of Things Audit. We want to target keywords with volume. We want to target keywords that address their customers' needs. You don't want junk traffic. I mean, you could call this category video games, but if it's off topic, it's not going to do anything for the business. So make it appropriate for what you're offering. This one here, they have footwear, and this is internal lingo. So their product buyers are like, yeah, I need to get more footwear products into our category. But that's not how shoppers search. Shoppers search for shoes. So you need to de-jargon your internal buyer speak and make it something that shoppers are searching for, which is men's hemp shoes. That's a category worth winning for this business. Product tokens should always display a price. So I went into their t-shirt category under men's, and when you hover, you get this treatment, but it's like very hard to read because they have the cool transparent background and dark text, dark background, almost impossible to read. So make this background solid white so that this is crisp and clear. And if you notice, the product name is terrible. The INI Sir Henley tea. And that is a horrible product name in terms of ambient findability. It doesn't say anything about what it is. It doesn't say that it's black. It doesn't say that it's a men's shirt. It doesn't say what it is. And I know T is, again, jargon. Like I know as a product buyer, they mean t-shirt by just the capital letter T, but that's internal jargon. That's not how people search and think. So this is kind of an internal product buyer's name for how they reorder from a supplier. That's not how human beings search for a black t-shirt. And so they need to fix these types of problems. And ideally, they should have a in your product database in your content management system, you would have a full description field and you would have a short description field. And the short description field would be 1 or 2 short sentences that are very keyword rich that you could display with the product token. So it would be right below, just, a little bit of text, add some vertical height in the rows, and then you turn these thin pages that have no text into category pages where every product has a couple sentences of keyword rich text. And you can tune that as an SEO. Then all of a sudden you're able to tune your categories and they're not thin content. They can be skyscraper depending upon the number of products per page you can show. So it's important to think about how you construct your category pages. And oftentimes there are synonyms for your category names. And if you have category description text at the top or the bottom, often it's referred to as safety text on a page because it's kind of boilerplate. You can address all the synonym needs in that category text. So we would probably want to overhaul what their category pages are. So the women's category, again, they're trying to win keywords that they're never gonna win. So they're not gonna win skirts globally. I mean, they're a small business. They just don't have the resources to win a keyword like this. But they do have the resources to win a targeted keyword that will help find their customers more efficiently, like women's hemp skirts. That's something they can win, and that's probably where they're going to get their best conversion rates. And another thing, we looked at this category, tees and tanks. I call these conjoined categories whenever they put the ampersand in their pants and leggings, socks and shoes. Retailers do this to make their categories feel more full because they feel insecure if they show a category that has 2 products in it. And shoppers don't care. What shoppers don't want to do is they don't want to go through 76 pages of pants to find the 4 pairs of leggings you offer. So conjoining it, if you don't have a lot of leggings and you have a ton of pants, you've basically killed your leggings product offering because it's no longer findable without a lot of manual searching through the categories. So break these apart because shoppers don't care about small categories, and then you can actually target them properly for keywords. And so this tees and tanks one, looked at women's tanks, which is this blue line, and women's tank tops, and it's way up here. So that's a much better opportunity. The other problem with tees and tanks is you're making Google work harder to figure out the context. Because, if you're going to do this, I mean, is it golf tees and Sherman tanks? I mean, what is it? And especially if your categories are thin and have no descriptive text, who knows where it should land? So we want to make it clear what we're offering. And this doesn't make it clear what the page is about. So again, we make all of these categories very targeted for where we could get conversions for turning these pages from 0 organic traffic, which they likely are, to non-zeros. So again, this is supporting data for that tees and tanks. So tees and tanks, no search volume, tank tops. There we go. They have a problem with their product photography. I noticed that the product was wrinkled in the photo shoots. You can't have that. I know it's difficult with product photo shoots because things get carried in bags and folded and set in piles and it gets wrinkled. But normally in your fulfillment center where you tend to do most of your product photography, or in your store where you do most of your product photography, You just have to have a dryer or an ironing board, and you need to fix the problem before you do the photo shoot. So I go through and fix the photos too. So I'm not going to go into too many more of, the categories, because there's another, 36 categories, and I think you guys get the idea. So now I'm just going to kind of point out some problems I think need pointing out. So one of them is shampoo and conditioner, another conjoined category that gets no volume. But what should it be? Or actually, creams and lotions. Sorry, called out the wrong one. We'll get to that one later. Creams and lotions, another conjoined category, but what should it be? So how do we pick it? And so here we find it's about the same, creams and lotions. But really, conjoining them is a fail. So we have to pick one or the other. Otherwise, we fail at both. And so what we need to do is pick one, and then in the category text, we'll mention the synonym for the other. So in the hemp lotions category, we'll mention this is a category for all different kinds of hemp lotions and hemp creams. We can address the synonyms in the category description. We don't need to do it in the category name. We just need to pick one that we can get some traffic with. Shampoo and conditioner, same thing. When we look at who searches for shampoo and conditioner, it's a goose egg. When you search for hair care, bam. But it's more complicated than just hair care, because you really have to continue researching for the niche. And when we do that, it inverts again. So hemp hair care actually wasn't the winner. When I looked at hemp shampoo, that's how people are largely trying to find these categories. So I would make this the hemp shampoo category. I'd throw the conditioner in it if it doesn't get lost in the volume of products you offer. But I think hemp shampoo is the right category to get the best opportunity. And we're not going to win shampoo, but we might win hemp shampoo. So that's something that's easier to take on. And when you do this Names of Things category or Names of Things audit, you're effectively making the SEO that you need to do more effective and easier. Because if you go at it going, I need to win the keyword shampoo for the small business, they don't have the resources to pay you to compete for the keyword shampoo. And that's not something they should be doing. So you kind of need to do this to even make their SEO marketing plan feasible for their budget. And so this is one way where you can set the expectation, you can show them results quickly, and you can make a clearly defined problem space that you can actually solve for them. And again, empty categories, got to put something in it or turn them off. Here they have a category, hats, scarves, and gloves. So this is way over conjoined. So they got 3 categories here. They put in punctuation. I'm normally very afraid of punctuation in category names and product names. So research it tends to kill your volume. So I would want to break these into separate things. And again, you can see how, if they had, 7 pages of scarves and 6 hats, you'd have to hunt to find them. And where are the gloves? Here, we're hunting through the category. Where's my gloves? Am I going to have to paginate again? Oh, they don't even sell gloves. I would have to paginate through all their pages. They don't have all their pages. But if they were a bigger retailer, I'd have to paginate through all their pages to figure out they don't have any gloves. So the category name is even, it's unhelpful for anybody who is searching for the gloves part of that category. So we would want to change this. And when we look at hemp hats and hemp scarves, and hemp scarf, singular and plural. We can check that in Google Trends. It's vital. We find out that really what people are looking for the most is hemp hats. I might do 2 categories, break it apart, hemp hats and then probably hemp scarf, because it appears that people largely search for a singular hemp scarf. And that's probably because it's so niche, they don't expect to get a selection. They feel like they'd be lucky to even find one. And that's typically what happens when you see the singular form winning. So I would probably create a category that, reflects that. Just because that's how they search. I know it would look a little weird for it to be singular, call it a typo, but the targeting will hopefully get you this little bit of organic traffic that's on the table. The store has options for how to view the categories in their store platform, and most platforms have this. So we saw the token view, which was light on details, but when you click over to the list view, it's begging for those short descriptions I was mentioning. You put that short description in each of these, hell yeah. What else are you going to do with the white space? And so their system looks like it's built for a short description, but they're just not using it. Here's the product page. Look at this punctuation. Like I said before, this is stuff scares me. You need to check and make sure you're not killing your search volume with this. And so, these are, black socks, has better search volume. Hemp socks has better targeting. We're more likely to win the hemp socks keyword over black socks keyword. There's going to be a lot more competition. So what do we do with this product name when we do our names of things audit? My preference, Hempest is the brand. So Hempest men's black hemp socks. That way, when they search for men's black socks or black hemp socks or men's hemp socks, or they do a branded search, kind of got our bases covered here. Hempest men's hiker socks, punctuation, black. I don't think that's optimal. Hiker socks is a type of sock, but generally it's not how people are searching for it. So here we have Courier laptop bags. It's a small category. They have 2 products in it. Again, this is conjoined category. They're just using a slash instead of an ampersand. So correct answer, we look for courier bags, laptop bags. So red is courier bags. Nobody's searching for it. Laptop bags, but these aren't actually laptop bags, even though you can use them that way. So kind of off top, these are actually messenger bags, and that's how people are searching. So I'd probably, I'd be tempted to make 2 categories and put both products in both categories and let Google sort it out. Or you just got to pick one. Probably messenger bags is the most appropriate if you're going to pick a singular one. Interest over time. So when we look at hemp messenger bag, hemp courier bags, hemp laptop bags, they all fail. So again, when we get more niche hemp bags, that's where the real opportunity was all along. So you got to keep getting more niche with it. Eventually, you'll figure out the right place to put it. Hemp bags is the winner. So in doing names of things SEO, you want to identify the pages that perform poorly, do the audit, recommend changes that have little or nothing to lose, explain the risks, remember to do your redirects when you rename things, And then, of course, you want to report on what percentage of pages you turned from zeros to non-zeros. You could say, hey, I took 60% of your pages that produce no traffic and made them produce traffic. I mean, that's a big accomplishment. And in total, that traffic amounted to X per month. And that's how you kind of want to report on it early. And that, hopefully buys you the time you need to get into the traditional SEO that typically takes longer. And what comes next, that's typically the index audit, where you identify the best target keyword for each URL, and you identify which pages appear in search for their target keyword and which don't, and then you fix the don'ts. So you kind of fix the naming on page, and then you go back and in another audit, you fix the indexing. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch, and it should be your first, 6 weeks or so of SEO for an online retailer, but it gets you a strong victory to show early on. Like both of these turn, low traffic into better traffic. And hopefully that's the type of thing that buys you more time and shows that you're the right person for the job. And these get you in the game where once you start doing generalized SEO across the whole site, that all these pages are in the game and ready to perform, ready to boost sales, versus doing generalized SEO on a website where you're never going to win the keyword and it's targeting something that's never going to get organic search volume. So fix those problems, and then all of a sudden your SEO is going to be amazing. So what do you guys think? Any follow-up you'd like to add?
You can do so much with the information that you gave in the walkthrough. Is if you're just one example that came up into my head instantly is I like to do site audit videos, and I never thought to go through this process. Like I would do it for a client, but I never thought that I could probably do this for people that I'm trying to reach out to as well, even bigger companies and bigger bigger prospects. And if you're presenting this kind of information to them versus the guy that's saying, hey, you need to fix the technical stuff, you're coming at it in a way that the bean counters will understand a lot better too. So I think if you guys, even if you learn the model here, think about how you can approach it and use what Ted gave you. It's almost a business model for marketing consultants. Right here in this one episode.
Thank you. Yeah. This is how I start engagements. I did SEO for online retailers for 17 years. And this was my go-to. If I needed a fast result to please a customer, this was how I did it. And so in my mind, in my experience, this is a slam dunk at the early stage of a new engagement. Plus, it sets you up for bigger successes in the traditional SEO. And that's so important. If you want your SEO to just be a home run knocked out of the park, you kind of have to prepare the website for the home run. So, Kyle, do you have any thoughts?
Is my mic any better now?
Oh, much. That is so clear.
All right. The one thing that I wanted to mention was, often SEOs get into a project or with a client, they say it's going to be X number of months before you're going to see results, which is often very true, except that you can find different ways to get quick wins, where you can be like, the faster you can get runs on the board, the better. And these are the type of opportunities that I really try to look for when I'm engaging a client, bringing somebody on, like, how can we get value now? So if you can say, like, in month 1, let's make these changes. And then in month 2, they instantly see all those great results. Now you're golden. because you have those long-term plays and those things that will take 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year. But when you can demonstrate that you can get those wins quickly by doing very low stakes changes to the sites in terms of just renaming things, finding those, as you call them, the goose eggs, and then just doing minimal optimization to make them happen, you have proven your worth. And you've come in and shown that, SEO isn't just keywords and all that. It's actually making your site better for different reasons, and all the different things you can flow through on all those category pages. You can get all those wins and then make it happen, and then you've got that client for forever.
Yeah, and what you'll find is that many of your single best months in growing revenue for a business might not include top of page one at all as part of the strategy.
No, for sure. One thing that I would add to this, so something that we've done internally that I think has been very beneficial is showing clients where we came from, that baseline. So if you can give the baseline, so it's in all our reports. So we're optimizing this page, or we're doing these things to the pages, showing where that page was. So if you have all these pages that are at 0, and then you can show you got even an incremental amount of clicks, and you show that across everything, that gets you through those down months where, like, hey, things were a little flat. What happened? Look back at where we came from, where we were at absolutely nothing. So because that happens a lot. Often I feel in SEO, you're constantly auditioning for your job again. But if you can show the baseline of where things were and where things now, it gets you through those kind of down or slightly down or kind of those flat months. But these wins that you brought into play immediately, so it's cumulative. It's easy for clients to forget. So they see that quick win, that's great. And then the campaign happens, that's great. And then there might be a dip. If you can show like where things started before those quick wins started coming in, and then before your main campaign started kicking in, or the building on those wins that you have, I feel like that's a big part of this process, is being able to benchmark where you were and then now where you are.
Yeah, it's vital. And once you're the SEO that turned the zeros to non-zeros, no other SEO can take that away from you. You're the guy that did the big growth.
Right.
And if you get replaced, any SEO that replaces you is going to have a hard time showing better growth than what you demonstrated.
Yeah, for sure. Going from 0 to something.
Yep. So with that, were there any questions? Is anybody watching?
I think we actually have a few. Yeah, a bunch. Hold up. Let's see. Kyle's great. Oh, these are all about me. It's weird.
Were those questions?
No, I don't even know. So here's one. So some GMB experts recommend creating pages to signal proximity and relevance, and say that traffic really isn't a great goal, but the pages are on the sitemap. Does that fit into this goose egg scenario?
Well, I'd say if you're trying to get local shoppers to come to your store, that's a very different problem. This is trying to get online shoppers to your website to check out. So it might not be a great fit for trying to get local shoppers to come to your store.
All right. How do you find a balance between target keywords and the length of the category? It says hard for buttons and nav bars.
Yeah, I simply don't care. Get a better theme. You need to have your categories target terms that are relevant to the people who buy your products. They need to be named for keywords that you can win. Otherwise, you're competing for t-shirts, and you are probably not going to win a keyword like t-shirts with the budget you have. So you need to pick a fight you can win. You don't pick fights you're going to lose. That doesn't benefit the business. It doesn't benefit your engagement with that client. So you need to make sure that you're in fights you can win.
Very good. I've got one kind of related to what you talked about, and then there's a couple others, or at least one other semi not related. Ted touched on this previously, but how do we track revenues from organic traffic? Do we need other sources of data? I still can't find a good answer or tutorial. I think,
Well,
Ted, you
the
may have
way,
run through this once on a Fight Club. There might be a Fight
yeah,
Club episode on this.
this is in general a 3-month problem to solve. So if I was hired by an online retailer to say, Ted, we need to track organic revenue and SEO, I would say at best we can accomplish this over the course of 3 months. We can probably do other things at the same time, but this problem takes time to solve because you're talking about doing an e-commerce tracking integration with Google Analytics. And the way that works is you're putting product information into JavaScript variables on your product pages so that when Google Analytics fires, it knows that it was, product X and it had a price of Y and they chose the color red and it was size extra large, and all that product information of getting added to cart and getting checked out and getting credit for the revenue gets into Google Analytics. And then you have your product sales information in Google Analytics, and you can look at all sales and you can segment it to the ones that have the source medium for Google Organic or other organic mediums like Bing Organic. And what you'll find is a lot of them are misattributed. So there'll be a lot of organic sources that are called refer. And you make a big long list of all the organic sources and you put them into one report, and then you have your organic sales. Now, Google Analytics is lossy, so you'll have sales information from your payment processor, and that will be extremely accurate. You'll probably never lose a penny when you look at the sales that go through your payment processor. You can compare that sales number to the sales that you got in Google Analytics. And what you'll tend to find is Google Analytics on their best days still is 10 to 15% lossy. But just so long as you know that it's a bit lossy in those numbers, you wouldn't pay commissions from Google Analytics. You pay commissions based on your payment gateway. But you can get the idea of how you're doing with SEO revenue by setting up that reporting system. And it really takes, because of the web development, to get the JavaScript variables populated, and the time it takes to really dial in analytics to make sure it's as accurate as it can be. By the time you figure out all your organic sources and set up the reporting, it's really about 3 months to get it dialed in. But once you do, you're reporting on organic revenue for SEO, which is like the best KPI for SEO, hands down. Any business that has any sanity at all is going to pick the SEO that talks about their ROI in terms of gross revenue. And most SEOs can't do that. So your barrier to entry against other SEOs is through the roof.
Here's the first non-related question. Have you guys ever tried to rank a business in MapPack without the service or the city in the business name? If so, how would you guys do it? So I guess the question here is it the name of the business? So it's instead of Joe's Plumbing, it's just Joe's. And instead of Joe's Plumbing Seattle, it's Joe's, and it has neither Seattle or plumbing in the name. I guess would kind of be the question here. How do you go about doing that?
The closest thing I've tried, and I haven't tried exactly that, so the truthful answer is no, I haven't tried it. The closest thing I've tried was doing an experiment with my software business, created a GMB for it, keyword stuff the name, and that worked fabulously. And ultimately, it resulted in a pre-qualified business loan of staggering proportion. So I'd say, you probably want the GMB listing, but be careful how you do it. If you're like a nationwide business and you don't want to sell in just one location, I believe there's a way that you can set it up as a corporate headquarters and still maintain your nationwide status. So just be careful how you set it up if you're not a local business.
And for me, a lot of this goes back to just doing all the things. And that's a line that I'm stealing from Matt Diggity. And I think it's a fantastic line. When anybody ever says, like, I've done this and I'm not ranking, have you done all the things? So when it comes to getting in the maps, the number one thing you can do is citations. Have you matched all the citations? And not just like, oh, I've done 4 out of 10. Like, have you done all 10 that are matching for the sites that are ranking above you? Do you have other citations that are very strong? Probably not. Have you completely filled out your GMB and are all your categories matching? Both your primary and all of your secondaries matching your competitors. Have you done your Yelp optimization? I've been to conferences where Yelp and Google are on stage presenting at the same time. That strikes me as an odd coincidence. And by odd coincidence, I mean not a coincidence. Have you done your Yelp page? Is that also properly optimized, or is everything consistent? There's so many of these little things you can do before you get to like advanced tactics on doing press releases that embed this or that, or driving directions, this or that. Before you get to all of those things, which are excellent techniques for sure, but before you get to those, have you done all of the things? And I find that most people have not. And make sure that you've done that you've got it all set up before you worry about all the super secret, extra spicy kind of advice that people give. Have you done all the normal things that a normal business would do? Make sure you've done all those things. My guess is that you probably haven't. There are things there that you can do in terms of just normal optimization, and just get those done. And then worry about those extra things. Because really, going back to the name, like getting the service or the city, doesn't matter. If you've done all those things to localize your business, it doesn't matter what the name is. It doesn't have to be Joe's Plumbing in Seattle. Joe's can work as a plumbing company if it's done all those things. And scrolling.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll add to that. It's kind of the same thing that Kyle said. You want to establish who the business is and who the brand is. There are people every day that are ranking branded maps that don't have the name of the service or the location inside of there. So to answer the question, yes, you can, and you probably should. And the reason why I say you probably should rank those type of maps versus the other is there's that whole white hat, quote unquote white hat, who are ultimately the best black hats on the planet, who run around and report businesses just because they have their name or the city inside of there. And I can tell you that 9 times out of 10, they're not doing the research to make sure that your brand is actually matching what your legal documents say versus what your business license says. They don't care if they see Joe's Plumbing, they report you. And then more often than not, because they're in the white hat Google blowjob crowd, they'll get your map suspended. So it's better to have branded maps anyway, even for your lead gen stuff, because you can hide that a little bit better and save that from the narc SEO practitioners of the world.
Yeah, that's very true. I found that when I got the pre-qualified loans through the GMB, they had all my keyword stuffing in the Visa credit cards they sent. So it's weird how, they don't verify the legal business entity, but they do phone verify. So you got to answer those phone calls if you want to get flagged as a legitimate GMB.
I noticed over on our YouTube channel now that it's on the live stream. It's spinning a little spinny wheel. Oh, that's not a problem for the live stream. The last question is: some SEOs report that expired domains have no power from backlinks. If they appear on Search Console, can I be confident Google is counting them?
Well, we never know the mind of Google completely, but I've known lots of people that redirect expired domains to inner pages to great success. The main danger with that practice isn't actually Google, it's the people that own the trademarks of the expired domains. So if you take somebody else's old company and they still own the trademark, they can go after you for infringing expired domains. So if you
if you're promoting it, that's a little tinfoil hat to me. My first response was, whoever you heard those from, you should probably not follow them anymore because they're completely full of shit. You can rank sites with expired domains and recapture those backlinks. You can do it right. It's a lot easier if they're more relevant. But the people that say that it doesn't work, one, they're probably not getting the backlinks for the expired domains recrawled. They're probably not forcing Google through those backlinks to make sure that you're getting credit for it. And then they're not waiting long enough. They set it for 2 weeks and, it doesn't work anymore as this has failed. Google's smart. The math is not dumb, and they're making you wait to get credit for that stuff. 60, 90 days is not unheard of to get credit from those backlinks. So you have to be patient with it.
Yeah, and even in SEO testing where I create domain names of random characters, every once in a while I create one that was a former website in China, and I get credit for all those backlinks, and it destroys my testing. So as far as I can tell, it still works.
Yeah, it works fine.
Let's call this one, huh?
Yeah. So we'll leave the Remo open. Let me go get that URL on screen again for anyone that wants to network for 15, 20 minutes here. And let me copy that link. Copy that link over. So I'll paste that into chat. Oh, but it won't let me do it for some reason. They're not letting the channel owner post links now.
They know better.
It's there.
It's there? Okay, cool. All right, so there's the link. If you'd like to come hang out and ask any questions or say what's up, we'll be there for a little bit. But Kyle and Clint are busy guys, so I can't guarantee how long they'll be there. So if you want to say hey to them, come quickly. And we'll see you next week, and stay healthy, and just try harder on winning the business. You can survive these hard times. I believe in you. So thank you.
Bye, everyone.
All right.